Well, we're back again, even after a whole week. What's up, everybody? My name's Indy, and that gentleman way over in the corner. I feel like we're in the Partridge, is that the Partridge family?
The Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch.
Look, I actually do have hair. That's the thing that
it's killer hair.
He played Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. Raggy? Yeah, so that's Jay Powell, everybody, from the Powell Group Consulting. And today we're having a conversation with a new video game distribution platform, VoxPop Games. We got Mark Anthony Rodriguez and Charles. I'm not sure what your last name is because you didn't put it in there.
Sorry. When I was prompted to type in my name, it didn't specify first and last. It just said,
put your middle name, your social security number, and
mother's maiden name,
shoe size.
Of course.
So, guys, welcome to, it's almost like a tail end of the show at this point, or tail end of the event. My brain is fried. So, yeah, that's good. So, let's start where we always like to start. And so, one at a time, Charles and Mark, tell us what you're doing now, but, how you got into the industry initially and, your path to this point.
Yeah, sure. So I guess the elephant in the room is I'm probably a lot younger and less experienced than the other men in this.
Come on, I'm only 28.
In this podcast. So my story isn't as complicated. I went to college to study game design with the dream that I'd be an independent game designer. But once I started actually making games and putting them on the App Store and on itch, I started to realize how hard it is to actually promote those games and market those games on the internet. It just hit a block. I didn't have any money to spend up front on advertisement. Because of that, I wasn't able to get any eyeballs on the game, couldn't make any money. It's like a chicken and the egg type deal, right? So I thought I wanted to instead start a platform that could help independent developers leverage some of their future profits to market now, to help drive more sales ultimately. And that's really what the core of the idea behind VoxPop is, to give people a tool they can use to actually get attention on their games. Mark has a much longer backstory.
I'm not going to bore everyone. I'm the old man at 38 years old here.
Back when I was your age.
Still young.
I'm the old game guru dude, but whatever. Started career in 2005, which is eons ago. I started with Rockstar. Was there from 2005, 2010. Did everything in between as the all-encompassing game analyst role. Everyone in games development knows what a game analyst does. I'm not going to bore you with that. Went from there to Capcom USA in the Bay Area, San Francisco. Worked out of the San Mateo office directly, working with Osaka on their content analysis team. That is pretty much giving the Japanese market insight into how to make games marketable in the States and not just port everything every 5 minutes. So worked until 2015 there, then started working with the Perfect World International Group to launch the Ark Games Platform. Ark Games is the free-to-play variant of Steam. They have the Torchlight series, Star Trek Online. So I went in 6 months, got in there, hooked everything up, worked with their CEO and their platform team to launch that platform to market, and then got a job working in game baseball streaming. So working for Major League Baseball, which then evolved to BAMTech, to then Disney Plus and Disney streaming services. I sort of tapped out in late 2018, early 2019 with just corporations and big budgets and stuff. Started my own consulting group, Grummelworks, which is where Charles and I sort of hooked up. We ran in the same circles in New York. I moved back to New York with my family, started a family. I have a 3-year-old son now, and building VoxPop. I partnered with Charles a little over a year ago now. and we're bringing this new amazing indie video game platform to the masses. It's already in open beta phase. It's ready for everyone to test out and check out. Free to download, and we have really, really great, awesome exclusive content, exclusive games, and games that you can find on other platforms as well. That's it.
That's all we need to know. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, it was right. It was a lot. That was the longest run-on sentence ever.
So everybody always thinks about Steam first and foremost. One of the things that we have pushed on, through the work that we do on IGB is you need to have more options than just Steam, because God knows it's very easy to get lost in that world now. So what did you do going into the planning? How is the VoxPop channel, store, whatever we want to call it here, how is it different? What's the main reason that indie devs should look to distribute with you all?
Well, I suppose the main reason is going to be our business model, and that how allows people to engage with their audience. But one thing that's maybe not the main thing that I would like to mention before I go into it is just the fact that we're indie focused. One of the reasons why it's so easy to get lost on the Steam store is just because you also have to compete side by side with all the AAA games that have all the advertising power that everyone's excited about, right? It's much harder to break through even just on a storefront like that, especially since much of your audience might not be primed to actually look for and pay attention to indie games, if that makes sense. So by focusing on a much more niche market, we can guarantee that A, the audience members we get are interested in independent games, and also B, that people will be able to place your game in context, which is much more important. Now, onto the model itself, right? I mentioned how one of the big problems that I remember facing, one of the big pain points, is finding the money to actually market your game. Publishers can dump literally millions on their AAA games advertising. Usually the advertising is significantly more expensive than the actual development. That's something that indie devs can't afford. Many of them may be solo developers who don't really have too many savings set aside for this kind of advertising. A lot of people might not even have really thought about the advertising until their game was finished. So what we want to do instead is help people engage online influencers like streamers. We're sort of past the days when you can walk up to a mid-sized streamer and say, hey, here's a free copy of my game, please play it, right? More and more now, there's a lot of big money coming into online influencers. And so what we really wanted to do was give people a tool that they can use to engage these streamers, to help them get their fair share of what they drive to you, because they need to keep the lights on too, right? And the way it works is the profit share system. For anybody who's watching who might be unfamiliar, developers determine a percentage of each sale that they will set aside for people who helped propagate that sale. And then anybody who has a hand in getting that game sold, whether it be through recommendations or seeding or whatever else, they get a cut of the sale. And developers can also give specific percentages to specific users. And that's how you can negotiate with influencer channels to say like, hey, I'm giving most people, 10%, but if you stream my game, I'll give you 30, something like that.
So what kind of reaction have you seen so far from the streamers? I mean, because God knows you can't just go out there these days and say, hey, we got a new platform to sell your game on, come join us. Having that hook in there to really get the streamers involved is a nice one. So how have you seen that reacted? I mean, what's the reaction you've gotten so far?
The reaction from developers that we've gotten has been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot of people can understand intrinsically the value of having a way to engage people this way. And one thing that maybe might not be quite as intuitive is because there is a default value that, yeah, you can negotiate up from. It means your game can also engage micro-influencers that maybe their audience might not be large enough for it to be worth it for you to engage them directly and try to create some kind of sponsorship deal with them directly. So the idea is to create some kind of I'm sorry, the words fail me at the moment, but cascading effect, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
It's a waterfall cascade. It's pretty much allowing streamers to advocate for things without feeling as though that they're either shortchanged or something's happening that it's unfair to even streamers themselves. Because I feel like a lot of the time streamers are pretty much on the short end of the stick when it comes to just like, hey, give me a free copy of the game. They play it, they beat it, and that's it. So we want to extend the life of these games that may be on itch or maybe on GOG or maybe on different places from these developers that are worldwide right now, because all of our developers are around the globe. We have a platform that is global right now, but it's still in its nascent phase, and it's still, gaining traction with consumers, users, marketers, everyone. So the overwhelming response has been positivity, love, and a lot of growth, I feel.
We've gotten a lot of great responses from streamers as well, especially, I think you mentioned that Little Fella is a moderator for our Discord.
Yes, yes.
So if you want to talk about how positive the response has been.
Yeah, our streamers are taking charge and taking over because they want, if anyone stands to benefit, it's the developers and it's the streamers, more so than big marketing we of course have publishers and marketers. We're not, gonna shortchange them. They're necessary, but we wanna. The whole point of VoxPop is I've seen the industry. I've seen what's happened in AAA gaming. I know what it takes to market a game, and the indie devs just don't have that. They don't. These 1 to 2 person teams don't. I'm not gonna say VoxPop's gonna be the answer for that, but we are trying to lead the charge in the way that games are distributed and the way that revenue share is parsed to be a bit more democratized and a bit more fair for streamers and developers.
From what we have noticed, some of these publishers or more business people that we've spoken to, they are a little more concerned. They want to see the platform prove itself. And we're confident we will.
Okay, you were talking about international. I brought this story as a question. I have a lot of questions. Like, how do you handle the regional continental taxes like Steam does, or is that on the developer?
That is on the developer. Sadly, we are a small team. While we would love to do these things, make things a bit more convenient for the developer, the fact of the matter is, we're like 5 people. We don't have the accounting team that Valve does. We really don't have.
What are y'all doing all day, Charles?
Exactly. We don't have 17 years in the bucket here, guys. We got a little under 7 months. Give us some chance. Give us your game, and we'll try and improve something. We'll try and improve your numbers and give you more publicity than just throwing you on the page for 21 hours.
Actually,
as you can see on Greg's IGB from the other day. Go ahead, Charles. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you up.
Actually, if I am comfortable sharing this point, I am literally doing all of the counting myself. I am paying out everything myself. I am tallying everything myself, because to the question, what are you doing all day when you're on a small team? As anybody who's worked on an indie game knows, the answer to that question is literally everything. Somebody else is already handling.
Everything.
You gotta do everything, man.
I'm HR. Holly's marketing, content creation, QA, Elise's engineering. We have. So that's another testament to our community. So the community, it's not a freeware thing. We're not trying to ask for free work or anything. We're asking to try and make this as big as possible, not as quickly as possible. Like slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady gains actually outpace anything that's a flat. We're not a flash in the pan. So what we want is longevity and continuity. If the staple is 17 years to become the Kmart of games, we don't want that.
Don't be the Kmart of games. They were not.
No. What we want here is honestly to be the indie. I saw when I became a partner with Charles, I said I want this to be an indie boutique experience for streamers and gamers to get gameplay experiences that they cannot get anywhere else and may get everywhere else, but did not hear about it until they came to our platform. That's the goal here. It's not to just, blow up. The prime example here is Among Us. No one was playing Among Us 3. I was playing Among Us because I'm cool with the Innersloth guys, but no one was playing Among Us pre-pandemic. Nobody. Okay, you could see the traction. It was
around for like 2 years.
It was a flat line. It was a flat line. Now they have 85 million downloads. They canceled their sequel because they want to bring the community around this one game. I'm not saying that that's the standard bearer of things, but if the accomplishment here is the attention economy wins, we want as much attention economy on our platform, because by getting on our platform, we're going to do for you what you're searching for from publishers right away may or may not do for you.
Okay, we got another question here from Caved Ins.
Oh, wait, hold on. I got to follow up first. So, okay. I mean, I totally get it. I mean, I run a small company and I just ran a 3-day event.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's why my head is just like completely shot at the moment. But so can you separate out the territories if somebody, because taxes are a pain in the ass and you do need full-blown accounting to be able to do this sort of stuff. But if you want to minimize that as much as possible, can you put the game like only for sale in certain territories?
To be honest, we haven't built that functionality in yet. That is something that we are considering looking into. But oh god, I don't want to keep harping on our smallness, but that also means we don't have a giant engineering staff.
Again, Charles, what are you doing all day?
We're trying to survive the plague. That's what we're trying to do.
It's exactly what we're but sorry, on a more serious note, it means we have to prioritize a little bit which aspects that we want to pursue at specific times on our development. And so we don't have anything region locked yet. That is something that's on the docket. That is something that we know we probably should tackle at some point, give developers more options and maybe even for legal reasons. But it's not there yet, and so unfortunately, no, we can't region lock anything.
Jay, we are in open beta to get all the analytics and all the metrics. So this is another kickback to my previous career. Everything that we did at Capcom was pretty much Japan is, if anyone's talking about analytics, they are one of the pinnacles of analytics, and they study data to a T. So in order to get any real metrics about what our next verticals are going to be and where we start engaging those verticals, it's going to be from the metrics that we gain from what we did in our closed beta, which launched at the height of the pandemic. We had to delay a month from April to May. Then, and our close to open went live on July 31st, which was another month delay because that was the second sort of uptick and spike in New York. And then it started gaining more traction at the end of the summer into now the fall and winter. So if we're going to do anything for like unlocking SKUs and unregion locking, what I want to have happen is we need to have the community advise us as best as possible in our Discord, on all of our social channels, letting us know where their pay points are so that we can improve and get it in the slotting for our scrums every Monday.
All right, so now Andy, go.
All right. So this question here caved in. Sorry if it's been answered. Is there a requirement to have the game exclusively on Vox, or can you have it there and on other platforms as well, like Steam?
No, there is no exclusivity requirement. However, we are looking to do sort of exclusivity agreements with developers, and we are looking for games that we call sort of made for VoxPop games. That means the game itself is not exclusive, but maybe the VoxPop version has some exclusive content like skins or new levels, that sort of deal.
Right.
And we are still navigating how best to handle these contracts and what we can do for developers without necessarily funding them directly like a publisher, because unfortunately that's just not in our capabilities currently, even though we want to do that eventually. So we have options for exclusivity, and we are willing to give extra perks to developers who are willing to go exclusive with us. But for just a normal deal, just to put your game on our platform, no exclusivity requirement. You can launch on Steam, you can launch on itch, and we're just going to hope we can do more for you than those guys.
Yeah, currently we have about 5 exclusive signed titles that you can't find anywhere else. Made for, we have 3. One of them is partnered with the Able Gamers Foundation. It's by Plug World. Sorry for the plug, but literally his name is Plug World. Parker, he's building out Weaponeer. So that was the sort of evolution of the made for, I hate the quotation, I feel like Dr. Evil, the made for VoxPop games sort of SKU variant. So another key thing that I took from working with Capcom is SKU variants are also king. You want to be able to have something different without impacting your overall branching to Steam, to GOG, to whatever console or whatever game platform that you want to have. So the made for system pretty much us to market your game in a way that you can't find it anywhere else, but you'll be able to have your original, I guess, vanillaware game on wherever other platform, and you won't really be shortchanging anyone, because by buying the game, you're supporting the developer more on VoxPop, which is the whole point. If you're making a game for VoxPop, or you have a made for VoxPop variant, you're standing to make more money by pushing people to our store. So that's the sort of key factor here. We want to be able to give gamers, I talked about it in my TED Talk, give gamers options. Gamers love options, and developers and streamers more options to be able to say, hey, there was this really cool pickup or item, or like a variant in battle strategy, or we have a whole bunch of things that are going live. Like I said, we have 4 current live titles that are exclusive, 1 unannounced title that's really, really big that we're saving for the new year. That's going to be really, really special. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's regular vanilla, just you want to have another distro channel, made for VoxPop, and exclusivity, and they're all being worked out right now.
All right. So in general, I mean, because we're getting a lot of good questions in. I love you, chat. Chat, you're doing my job for me today, and I highly appreciate it. So in general, I mean, obviously we're not going to go into specifics, but in general, how are the exclusive agreements structured?
So right now, what we're doing with exclusives is we designate a certain period of time where while this game is exclusive, you get 100% of the revenue, and minus whatever you reserve for user incentives. That means VoxPop doesn't take a cut of its exclusives. As well, we do try to do whatever we can to aid in development. So we've aided in story treatments, QA testing,
level design.
And of course, we promo the games harder than we would promo, just any other game that comes to our platform. And yeah, we just do whatever we can to support the game, and you get 100% of the revenue while it's exclusive to us.
All right.
I'm trying to get to as many of these Hello?
No, I was going to say, Indy, pop up the next question, because I mean, this is also because they are really good questions coming in from chat.
Okay, another from Eyebrow the Destroyer. Okay, I understand your position as a small team, but do you have a DRM solution for your peer-to-peer platform?
Oh,
yes, that was priority number 1.
Yep.
So we have, as I'm sure a lot of the people watching this podcast know, the Steamworks wrapper doesn't actually work with games that were built in engines that have external dependencies, most notably Unity. So they ask you to change your thing to integrate with Steamworks API and integrate optional features like the achievements and Steam multiplayer, etc. So we built our wrapper to work with any kind of game, regardless of whatever engine they were built in. This also feeds into sort of our security when it comes to our peer-to-peer protocols. It chunks files into multiple files, and that makes it easier to compare the hash value on each file to make sure that the file you're downloading is actually the correct file. And once you have the game, it's packed in a format that won't open unless the user is logged in on the client. So very, very simple. Sorry, I probably described it in more detail than you needed. It's pretty user friendly for a developer. You just you click a button and you get your wrapper.
It's not Steamworks. We're building something different, but there is protocols for us to be secure. There are protocols for things to work with our algorithms and our parsing systems for profit sharing. So we have a lot of moving pieces. But overall, it's pretty simple. You just literally plug and play your game into a packer wrapper, and then it works for the remainder of while it's on our system.
Right now, it's fully feature complete. We are working out some like UX, UI kinks, though.
Oh, all right. So, hold on. Let me see. So, what's next here?
Whoops.
All right, so from Caved Ins on Twitch, speaking of international, as a dev, would we have access to all of the information where things are being purchased for taxes?
Where things are being purchased.
So, I mean, on their
location tracking for where purchases are being made from.
Yep.
Honestly, we don't have location tracking for purchases. Stripe is how we handle the purchases. I believe that we can get that data through.
Yeah,
Stripe.
they have Stripe has the data. So whenever you make a purchase on VoxPop, this plays into our support for what happened during the peak of COVID. We were going to have a bunch of e-commerce distribution items. We had zero support once the peak hit. Stripe was a really good partner with us. So since they're international payments, they work with any credit card or any sort of distribution item. So Charles, is that trackable? Did you look that up or?
I can check right now. But to answer the question, to be honest, that's not something we've ever tracked as part of our accounting before. I wasn't aware this might be information that developers need, but we can begin sending these kinds of reports if enough people require them.
Yeah, that's a vertical that we can, of course, jump into. Another key thing is every purchase is tracked through game ID. So whoever's tracking it on the back end, once you sign up and create your developer account, you'll have real-time visualization on your developer account, similar to Steamworks, of how many sales and where they're coming from per the game ID. So all we would have to do is work out where region is and sort of work that out with Stripe and where it's coming from. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Here. On Stripe, it does mention region.
Yep. So there's the answer. Caved ins.
All right. So a follow up from Caved Ins. What kind of advantages are being spitballed for games made for Vox?
Ooh.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, our exclusive titles do get 100% of our revenue, and we do try to assist in development where we can. When it comes to made for VoxPop games, we have similar benefits, just to a lower degree. Like maybe we won't give you 100% of the revenue. We'll still take a cut, but maybe a smaller one. It really depends on the scope of what's being done for us in terms of made for VoxPop.
Yeah.
Obviously, a single skin is significantly less development work than, fully exclusive game mode or something. You know what I'm saying? Right. So when it comes to our made for titles as opposed to our exclusive titles, it's really more of a case by case basis. To answer this next question.
Yeah. So Herbivore wants to know if you're looking for VR games, but even along those lines, I mean, we see different stores in the industry almost gravitate to different genres and different customer types. indie in and of itself is still a pretty big, vague area to be targeting. But, what types of games? So one, yes, are you looking for VR games? But two, what types of games are selling best right now on the platform?
Okay, so first, to answer your question, we're not specifically going out of our way to look for VR games. We just feel that with our target demographic, so to speak, it's probably not particularly common. But that's not to say that we're going to reject any VR games that we get, right? You can still sell them on VoxPop. It's just not something that we necessarily go out of our way to seek, right?
So that brings up a good question then. It's like Steam is uncurated. You pay the Steam fee, you have an EXE, you can put it up there, whatever. It's done.
Yeah.
GOG, on the other hand, is very heavily curated. Epic is even more heavily curated.
Yeah.
What's your approach right now to what games get greenlit to go on the platform?
We shoot for a sort of in between Steam and GOG. We don't want to heavily curate our library. We don't believe it's necessarily our job to impose that on developers. But at the same time, we got to make sure we're not just like literally getting an asset flip or
no shovelware.
Like somebody's straight up lying about what's in the content in their game, right? So as long as your game is within reason, what you say it is, it's not our job to judge whether it's quality or it's not. Because a lot of games, especially indie titles, I think you've probably seen this yourself, Jay. Sometimes they just look worse than they are. They don't look great in the screenshot or the trailer, but they might play fantastically. One of the best games, our best-selling game right now is Guardians of Ladino Forest Golf by Adrian Dietrich, a game that in stills might look a little shabby, but plays fantastically.
That's a key esport for us. We ran a golf tournament. We ran the 2020 Open Guardians of Ladino Forest Invitational this past April, and it was a five streamer event where everyone had to play 18 holes of this space golf game. Amazing. I'm trying. Listen, I hope Dietrich is there. I don't want to give up the ghost here, but I'm trying to get the sequel exclusive to VoxPop because this, I feel, can be a really big indie esport, because that's another thing that I want to sort of branch into. We have a bunch of games that are low poly, very addictive. So to answer the curation question, where Charles said in between Steam and GOG, the indie boutique stylings of it, the curation is our team. Charles plays it, I play it, Holly plays it, Elise plays it, Connor plays it, even Dr. U. Like everyone we're trying to get to play these games say, well, not necessarily Dr. U, but anyway, we want to get these games that are addictive, that they're fun, that they bring you back to the early games of Prime. They're primal games. That the most carnal games that get us are Super Mario, Pac-Man, Space Invaders. So all of these games, we have a game from Attack Mountain that's pretty much the revitalization of Joust, which is one of my all-time favorite games. It's called Frog X Bird. That is a big push that we're trying to do for that company, for that gaming collaboration, to pretty much have a new next generation of gameplay that has not been seen, because it's already past the generations. We can't just have everyone playing Call of Duty every 5 minutes and Fortnite every 5 minutes. We need some variance in streaming and in gaming. So that's what we're trying to curate and trying to get a new sort of interest and spark of excitement about.
So Adrian is here, by the way. He is watching live. So Caved In, how long are the exclusive periods?
That's also something we're looking to negotiate.
Yeah.
Right? So, if I, when it comes, as you may have heard, we don't have like that many exclusive titles yet, right? And so we are sort of negotiating them on a case-by-case basis. There's more flexibility there than there would be with, a big publisher, right? And so we've been flirting with different timelines. 3 months, 2 months, 1 month. We have to see. This is something we're still actively experimenting with.
It depends. Honestly, it's in the control of the developer. And we want, like I said, we don't want to not make 100% of the profit for an extremely long time, because then the platform just goes down. We can't just give away money. It's not, like I said, it's not a freeware or a freeware site or a free to play site. It's a distribution platform that allows for more publicity, more attention. In the attention economy, we're battling a lot of different things. We just passed, the election in the States and everything coming with the holidays. So publicity and the attention economy is key. But what we want to advocate for is a more developer-centric and a more developer-backed with also publisher games. Like we have partnerships with Rogue Games to ship under. So that game is only available on Steam and VoxPop. That's a huge, Reggie's their advisor, Reggie from Nintendo. So Rogue is taking a bet on our small indie platform by putting their game on our platform. We have a bunch of other Rogue published titles that are coming from other developers. We got Playfellow Studios coming in. We have Globus Interactive with Under. So there's a bunch of other games that are publisher backed. We're not afraid of publishers, but we want to have the developers and the streamers take a higher a higher place on the totem pole.
All right, so we got so many questions coming in here. Indy and I are trying to figure out who's next.
And take your time.
Yeah, man.
So
all right, let's see. Yeah, there's a lot. What kind of advantages are being spitballed for games made?
We did that one.
Okay. Go ahead and hit the next one and put it up so I can see where you're at, Jay.
Oh, okay. See, you just made me scroll, and now I think we're right here. Was that the one? Yeah. So I understand you're helping devs with game design and marketing, but do you have any intentions to help with QA testing or localization in the future?
Actually, we have been doing QA testing.
Yeah.
For developers. As for localization, sure, why not? It is easy to talk about the future, but I don't see any reason why localization would be out of the purview if in the future, when maybe we had a few more people and we don't need to worry about literally building the platform anymore, right?
Yeah. So yesterday during the conference, I was there for the Terra localization. So I have a bunch of connections with localization groups. I'm not going to say we're going to sit here and localize things for everyone, but we could try and make connections. The last conference we all went to was the Penny Arcade Expo, the PAX East conference in Boston. Okay. So I've been to a ton of them. That was the major, huge, we've been networking, underground for now. We were exhibitors there. We had Hamra Digital there with Radar Jam, with one of our titles there. So besides networking and working the network that we have internally, our Discord is full of artists and people in the industry that would be able to put someone in touch with someone that can handle either QA or QA for a games listing or for credit, because they are starting as a fledgling game developer or someone that wants to get into games. I started in QA. QA is everything. There are no games without QA.
There are. Yeah.
Well, sorry. There are no quality games without quality assurance.
I assure you, there are plenty of them.
No. But I learned this. I learned this from Rockstar. Starting at a game analyst there, QA heavy. We could spend years in QA, and one week in the public, and it washes 5 years of your QA. So there's never enough QA. But like Charles has stated, it's cool to talk about the future. We're trying to do as much as we can. If you go on our LinkedIn, you see what the team is, what the team size is, and advocating for our platform will only make the team grow, will only allow us to accomplish more of the verticals that we have. So yeah, we're trying.
From a competitive standpoint, you're obviously, we're not revealing any deep dark secret to say, you're behind the bigger platform, but everybody else is too. And one of the ways that you can absolutely stand out from the pack is helping the developers with some of these things that publishers typically do. And that would be QA and localization. And
well, we've been getting a lot of calls. I've been getting, we have Google listings for the operating office, so I've been getting calls from developers that are explicitly asking, like, oh, what are you guys offering in terms of publishing? Like, we're not a publisher. I guess people are getting confused about what a publisher is. A publisher is a company that has a publisher is whatever it is you think it is, but it really isn't. It's more of they have a lot of money to back you and connect you with more people. We're doing that I don't want to say in a micro scale, but we're doing that for games that are being curated in a way that they want to be a part of the community and they want to advocate for what this platform is. The profit sharing margin is only going to grow the more sales you get, the more advocacy you do as streamers. So our stream team is doing, Lil Fella, Hank the Hippie, Icarus Panda, LA Dream, Lithium Project, Josh Scorper, everyone that is a streamer has been advocating for us. So these micro influencers are talking to their viewers, talking to their followers, and those followers are hopefully converting into users, but those users are then generating more people to come on board, because if they're using their recommendations to basically onboard people, so we have recommendation links in every single platform profile has a recommendation link. If you buy a game and you recommend that and you share that on any of your socials, if people are buying through your recos, you're standing to get a cut of that. That builds into all of the verticals that we have with our micro investment engine, with our internal development. So all of these different things are bleeding into one another in more ways than one. And that's the leg up, like you said, Jay, that we have. We have so much flexibility at 17 years of Steam, 7 years of itch, 6 or 7 years of GOG. They can't just they can't do that. They have what they're going to do and they have to stick to it. We have flexibility to carve out a new path and be adjacent to all of these other platforms.
I have a question about that kind of stuff as well. So you want to, give other services that other platforms don't have, plus do promotions. How are you going to be able to do that when you have like 1,000 games on the platform? How are you going to do that? And you have 800 games asking for all of these services. How are you going to be able to do that?
The profit share service is automated. I don't have to do that manually. So we could have 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 games, and that would still chug along, no problem. The only thing that we're doing now that we wouldn't be able to do scaled up would be personally QA testing these games and giving these games more promo than a couple posts on our social media. We'll still endeavor to promo every game that we get, but they might have to be in bulk promos, for example.
Yeah.
And when it comes to services like QA or development assistance, we might have to reserve that for games that we have some sort of exclusivity with us, right? So once we are at scale, perhaps we will need to prioritize somewhat, but our hope is also to expand so we can continue these services, and our base level services and our business model will still be accessible to all developers. And that's really what we were hoping for. Right.
It's not a bad problem to have a waterfall of games come onto your store, just for an extra revenue cut, just for another revenue stream. The VoxPop user right now, if I were to dictate what they are, it's me. It's every gamer that is willing to give a chance and not be very myopic with their vision on what games are supposed to be. I've played more. So to piggyback on what Charles has stated, we won't be able to QA everything, but we will be trying to curate by playing all of the games that are trying to be submitted onto we're going to have a queue system. It's not going to be very Steamworks, but we have to have so much time in the day. As Jay knows, as Dan knows, we're at 44 minutes right now. So the attention economy is fleeting. What I want to stress is it's a good problem to have if there are 10,000 games. That means we are scaling. That means there are more investors coming on board. That means there's more marketers coming on board, more publishers coming on board, more streamers coming on board, and more users coming on board. So
it also means it makes discoverability much, much, much harder.
Correct. Which we are. I don't want to share too much because these are early nascent things, but there are things that we are trying to spec out to handle those things. That Charles.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I should clarify that we are actively discussing many ways to keep discoverability high, even as we scale. But the first way that's already part of the platform is the profit share itself. There will be a section of the store, the featured section of the store, which is just going to be the games that have the highest profit share percentage and the games that can potentially make users the most money if they promote it. So this means that even for older titles or even for titles that flew under the radar completely when they launched, there's always a path to a front page on the store. Now, we don't want that to be the only path, but that is a path for discoverability that is always there for every game. So,
all right, let's get to a question here from Alexi. What's up, Alexi? I'd like to know more about Alexi was a speaker yesterday.
Yeah, Bode. What's up, Bode?
What's up? I'd like to know more about VoxPop's players demographic layout. How's that look right now? And what do you think it would look like in 5 years?
All right.
Ooh.
Tough question.
The demo question. What is my demo? Okay, age. We have age, Charles. I know we have age.
So our target demo for age is sort of 18 to 25, I suppose. Yeah. But I'm gonna level with you. We don't really collect data about our users. So if you're asking for like a gender breakdown, age breakdown,
that's in the Discord.
I can't give that for you.
That's in the Discord. Discord.
I can tell you that our buyers are overwhelmingly from the United States, as to be expected, probably. Our promotional efforts abroad have not been as comprehensive as here in the States. I would estimate about 85% of our buyers to be from the United States, maybe higher. Keep in mind that I did not plug that into a spreadsheet. This is kind of off the cuff, but like just looking at what I saw on Stripe earlier.
So here's
sorry, Mark, do you have anything to add?
Here's a secondary demo. This is why Charles and I are the yin and yang co-founders and partners, right? The demo, I think, question that Bode is asking is where are we now? So Charles just answered what we're targeting, and the sales wise, it's coming from the States. But the inverse of that is our developers are mostly from overseas, and our streamers are mostly from overseas. So the streamers and devs are both coming from the Euro territory, Eastern Europe. We have Latin America, a huge Latin American presence that we're trying to break through. We have devs from Brazil. We have devs from Colombia. We have devs from Mexico. We have devs from South Africa. We have devs from Paris. We have devs from Belgium. So we are, like I said, we are a global entity. The demographics that I want to have a key marking here is in 5 years, besides being international, we're going to have the support for those international markets. So the scalability now was our target goal was we're from New York. Charles is a NYU bred New Yorker. So Charles is a New Yorker in my mind. Going through NYU Game Center that's more New York than you could ever get. I'm from Brooklyn. I've been to the Bay Area. I've been all around the United States. The target here was to launch with the Northeast being our target because everyone focuses on the Northwest with Valve and with Microsoft. Everyone focuses on the Bay Area with, the tech bros and all that other stuff, Capcom, all the mobile game companies coming out of there. And then Los Angeles and the Orange County sort of dev hub. No one's giving attention to New York, metro area, Boston, RISD, New Hampshire. So our main goal when we launched with the closed beta, which was to go to PAX East and target all of the developers that were coming from the Northeast to gain more shine and gain more traction. So we're still very focused on trying to onboard, but out of nowhere, we just got this international sort of bust up of developers. That's not a bad thing in the slightest. I love all of the games that are coming out of Europe. They're perfectly curated and queued up to be a part of what we were trying to be as what a VoxPop game would be. But we still want to get that foothold in the Northeastern market because of COVID. There's more games being made. The indie game renaissance is occurring. There's never going to be any more games that are being made than now. And what I want to do is
there's more games being made everywhere. Why the focus on? I mean, this is very much a world economy, the world is flat type thing. Why the focus on one section of the U.S. In general?
So it's not a focus. It's more that was our target. And we were off by a lot. So to answer your question, it would be we're not focused on that any longer.
Because Mark is a proud New Yorker. Brooklyn, everything.
Yes.
Like Mark said, the focus on the Northeast might be exaggerated somewhat. I think what Mark really means is when we first got started, when we were physically going to go meet developers, obviously we were doing that in New York for the most part, right? Because like we didn't have like a travel budget. As things progressed, and of course, when COVID hit, everything moved online, and now our focus is more international than ever.
Yeah.
And in 5 years, we're hopefully going to localize into all these places that we have developers coming in from. Thank you for that, Mark. You really saved my ass.
You saved mine. You saved mine, brother.
So, Indy, there's a question from Cave Dens at 1236.
Is there access to see sales to certain games to make an educated decision to put games on your platform?
We have a developer portal that lets developers see sales metrics for the games that they have put on the platform. We haven't made that public for a couple of reasons. This is data that some developers might want to keep private. We don't know that it's necessarily appropriate for us to be sharing all of that data. And secondly, just like from a business standpoint, it isn't always the smartest idea to just be fully transparent about all of your metrics. I was actually advised to avoid delving into that too much. Maybe someday we'll make those metrics available with developer permission.
Yeah, it would have to be that we would have analytics from everyone, and everyone would have to sign off on that in order to share just baseline analytics of traction and traffic and all that other stuff. But that comes with scale. That comes with more team members. That comes with deeper data analysis. But short answer, devs will always have real-time metrics for their sales.
Okay, here we go. Is another question. Are you currently collaborating with LATAM devs?
Oh, yeah. Big time. We got QQ out of Colombia, QQ Games with Puzzletopia. They're out of, I believe, Bogota, Colombia. We have Link Up Games with our exclusive title, Ultimate Reality, coming out of Ecuador. So we are trying to get a huge foothold. I've been talking with Astro Bodhi, Alexis, to try and work with a bunch of other devs from Latin America as well. I'm Latino. I don't know if anyone could tell from my last name. My wife's Colombian, born and bred. I was a New Yorker, so I'm a New York, Puerto Rican, Mexican kid. But yes, we are focused. We have devs out of Brazil as well with Hallowseed Horror Story by Jeff Winter. That game is amazing. It's pretty much like Resident Evil 7 style graphics, running on an independent platform. So I'm really looking forward to that title coming out of Brazil. So yes, Latin America is a strong focus, but no more stronger than any other dev worldwide. Anyone that comes to us, we're more than willing to give you 5 minutes of our time to just at least talk and see what's up.
All right, let's see here. We've got What are your quarterly goals and markers for next year? And that is from Chavelo in 1931.
Let's see. Mark, you had a game goal, right? Number of games signed.
Okay. Game goal right now is to hit 215 just static games, just regular games in any way, shape, or form, just 215. Right now, we're rapidly approaching that game. I think I have to change that metric a lot to gain more. We have over 150 games now signed with over 60 Twitch streamers, Let's Players on YouTube, regular streamers. So the metrics that we're having are all verticals to build to our micro investment engine and our internal development games. So goal markers, they're always being moved and change every day. Tomorrow it could be going from tomorrow we could wake up and have 215 games signed. So the goals are ever changing, but we do have markers that are going into the first quarter of 2021 and for the remainder of the year.
As I mentioned to Jay, but I don't think we got into during this podcast, is the next vertical we want to work on is our answer to crowdfunding, our micro investment engine. I don't know how much detail to go into on that, but that's my goal in terms of development for quarter 2 next year, to have that ready and up and running by the middle of next year.
Yeah, that's probably a whole nother discussion for.
Oh yeah. Now with 4 minutes left on the hour, but no, that's a huge one.
We can still get through some questions here. Mr. Kooky, how are you managing game reviews and refunds?
So we don't have a specific refund policy right now. If someone contacts us to complain, and they have reasonable claim, we'll probably refund it right now. We are discussing setting more specific limits on our refunds. In terms of, sorry, what was the other one?
Wait, so wait, just to be clear, Charles, for the open beta phase, we do not have refunds. So once we go live with the full client, we're going to have the fleshed out refund policy and the reviews. Charles, was the second part of the question. That's fully user generated and curated as well. So
yeah, we're not moderating those.
Yeah. So the algorithm that we have right now is tied for recommendations and reviews. So you can't just dive bomb a game because you want to make your game shine. Every purchase is tied to a review. So right now, that's the way that we're curating it. We're trying to get feedback from the community on how to do that better, because we all know about Metacritic. We all know about all these systems that are very flawed, but they're stuck in their ways. You're going to see up and down based off users versus actual reviews. We're trying to stop that as well. So right now, recommendations and reviews are tied, and we're working through our background algorithm and analytics to basically see where users are tying their recos and their ratings. So every game that's purchased allows for one rating and one recommendation as well.
So the follow on there, and it's a good point for Mr. Cookie, is when someone does ask for a refund, can you tell how much of the game that they played? Because obviously a lot of indie games are shorter than other games, and so you don't want a big situation where you've got people playing through an entire game and then turning around and going, I want a refund.
Right now, we do not have time tracking functionality. We are building that into the platform.
Yeah. So right now, like I said, since we're in open, we have to build that functionality in to be able to track. If I know that the game is, level based or can be completed within an hour, some people are giving us descriptions that this game could be completed in half an hour, an hour. Some of the games, like I said, are from itch. Some are from Steam. Some are only found on our store. So we have to, like I said, that's another vertical that we have to handle in our Scrum with our team internally and with our metrics to basically be able to combat that, because a lot of the times you see on Steam, people play less than 1 minute and they just dive bomb review it and they ask for a refund because they just didn't like it. So we have to try and find a way to combat that as best as possible with this kind of platform. It may deter people from signing up, but that means that they weren't really going to be a user of VoxPop to begin with if they were just going to play games to refund them as well.
So we're getting close on time here. If you've got questions for Charles and Mark, pop them in chat right now and we'll get them answered. So the last one on my list is going into 2021. I mean, obviously, the platform isn't fleshed out to the extent that the more established platforms are. But what are your feature priorities, for next year to get implemented?
Well, besides the micro investment engine, like I said, there's like a lot of small things that we are really hoping to implement. Things like time tracking, and oh geez, my brain is fried right now. I could open up our Trello and just like read the backlog if you want. There's so much stuff on it.
Internal development as well, internal game dev. So we're working on internal. We're going to try and get some of Charles's passion projects, some of my passion projects to fruition as well. So that's another vertical for later down the road at the tail end of 2021, going into 2022. So that's one main vertical that I wanted to talk about a little bit. Like Charles mentioned, micro investment is a whole nother big thing. If people want to talk about micro investment engine, come to our Discord. We'll be talking about it there as well. We're going to do an AMA coming up soon as well, going into our final candidate release for full release. No longer open beta, but full, realized platform release. But there'll still, of course, Jay, like you said, there'll still be bugs. So we have to, every day is QA. But yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of studios that are opening up their Trello so people can see. I mean, are y'all looking at doing at least a version of the Trello that's publicly available so folks can see what's coming?
Could be. Honestly, it's just not something that we've really considered. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll look into it.
Recently that has been, I mean, because Epic caught a lot of flack when they first launched, and people were like, well, they don't have the features Steam has. I was like, well, no shit. Steam's got 15-year head start on them. But
17.
They went and opened up their roadmap, and it really quieted a lot of that, because it was like, okay, now you can see exactly what the developers are thinking and what their priorities are, so we can make a better educated decision on whether or not we want to be there. So I think as an industry, I mean, I'm seeing more and more developers do this as well. It's a transparency issue. It's you want people to believe in what you're doing, and it's helpful.
Yeah,
that's something we'll consider. Need to think about it. I could see on the one hand, well, I see what you're saying about transparency, maybe helping people understand the process a little better. I could foresee an opposite scenario, for example, where someone might say like, okay, well, why aren't you doing it as fast as Epic?
Oh, well, shit, everybody's going to say that. I mean, that's just the cost of doing business, Charles. Yeah. Criticism. I mean, that's a given part.
Well, no, for me, it's also another thing to track. So besides doing all the additional tracking, we have to track the public Trello as well. So we would have to have verticals that are internal, of course, because we don't want to give up the ghost. But we're trying to make sure if we do this sort of transparency, it's in a way that is conducive of. Right now, we have in our Discord suggestion box. So the suggestion box will be like, well, we're getting to your suggestion box at this rate of at this burn rate based off of our engineering team's effort point spend on our Scrum. But understand, disclaimer, we have to get the platform items done and morceled out and in a nice little bow for everyone, so that the platform can exist.
Anyway, the long and short of it is, this just has to be a conversation, but we need to look into it. We need to look into cost and cost benefit analysis, that sort of thing.
I understand completely. I run a small company too, so I get it.
Oh yeah, but you're not that small, Jay. You're not that small.
We're smaller than you think we are, especially to be running, the whole IGB and a consulting firm. Yeah, it would probably surprise you how small we are. But guys, I really appreciate y'all, you're coming in. It's like we always want to see new options for developers come out there, and what you're doing with the kickbacks and the incentives for streamers, and this is a different way of going about it, and that's what we want to see. So I highly look at seeing what you all do in the next coming months. And so I would encourage anyone who doesn't necessarily want to just get lost in the vastness of Steam to take a look and to try you all out.
Thank you for that, Jay.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Dan. You're muted, bud. There you go.
I am. Yes, that's because I was sneezing and coughing and stuff, and I didn't want to. Yeah, thank you guys. So for anybody that is watching this right now or listening to it, as a matter of fact, all the links for everything VoxPop is down in the description. And also make sure and join our Discord, discord.gg/indiegamebusiness. You guys are in there.
Yes, we are. Yeah? The whole team is.
The whole team is in the Discord, and I hope you guys also enjoyed the Indie Game Business Conference the past 3 days. And I'm excited for the next one. I'm excited to see what the next one's going to be like.
Me too.
It was great.
Yeah. You guys already got it all planned out and everything, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we bring some VoxPop stuff over there. Who knows? Maybe some announcements at the IGB. Maybe we have to do a talk. Whatever you guys need. We're trying
sponsors, Mark.
Yeah, I know. You're preaching to the choir, brother. You're preaching to the choir. So
send money.
We'll have another one coming in probably 3 or 4 months. Honestly, I've got to sit down. I haven't even looked at the calendar for next year. I'm trying to, decompress from this week as well. But yeah, we're going to have another one soon. This is not the indie game business events. I mean, this was like number 7 or 8. It's like they're not going away. They'll be around.
The next time it's going to be 14 days straight. So
whoa.
24 hours a day, 14 days.
We're going for the 24-hour news cycle. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Dan, friend up on VoxPop. Jay, when you guys get your accounts, we'll guild your accounts. Just friend up as soon as possible. I'm Salami Attack. Charles is Speed Boots Torchic. Well, did I mispronounce that, Charles? What is your?
That's all right. Speed Boost Torchic. I was a big Pokemon fan when I was growing up. So
I'm going to sign up right now. Then.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. We have the web portals out now, so people could do web redirects. It redirects you to our current 1.4.2 build. And just let us know if you are interested in anything. Most of the games are pretty affordable. There's no sales going, and all of your money goes to directly fund developers and streamers more so than any other place.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. We have next week our streams, our broadcast is going to start 2 hours later. Isn't that right, Jay? Yeah. But we'll have this, and we'll have this is going to be on anchor.fm and all of your other podcast platforms. Plus, we're going to have all of the IGB winter sessions up on the podcast. We're going to release X amount of episodes per day. We haven't really talked about that. Do we want to do one episode, or do we want to do more? We'll talk about that later. But thank you guys so much, and have a great weekend. Anything else you want to add there, Mr. J?
No, I'm good.
All right, he's ready for beer. Me too.
Be safe, stay healthy, okay?
Exactly.
Take care of yourself, mask up, do your thing, all right?
Go ride your motorcycles.
That's do it.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.